Donald Trump has a funny definition of ceasefire. Donald Trump last night insisted the ceasefire in Iran is intact, despite the US and Iran exchanging fire over the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. The US says that it was responding to incoming threats, while Iran says America had launched an unprovoked attack. And none of this bodes well for the one-page document Trump wants Iran to sign off on to try and get a peace deal and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Trump, who is obviously across all of this, described last night's exchange of fire as a trifle. But he also said that you will know when the ceasefire has been broken because...
They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
And if you're wondering why Donald Trump appeared to be giving a press conference from the bottom of a drained swimming pool there, keep watching to find out. I'm Mikey Smith, and this is your roundup of all of the wild, weird and dictator-esque things that are happening in Trump's America this week. Also this week, Marco Rubio met the Pope, and it was not at all awkward. Trump found common ground with the TikTok generation by teaching a bunch of kids his weird YMCA dance. And Trump went full 90s dictator, erecting a giant gold statue of himself. Donald Trump's palace in the sky is nearly ready to fly. But how? Speaking of going full dictator, you remember last year when Qatar gave Donald Trump a plane? Well, apparently it's all set and ready to fly, which is weird. See, for a number of years, the US Air Force has been hard at work on replacements for Air Force One. The existing planes are pretty old and creaky, and you can't just put the president in any old plane. The Air Force and the security services have to add new security features, and they literally have to take it apart bit by bit so they can check it for bugs, which you'd think would be more of a concern for a plane that has been given to you for free by a country that, as recently as 2014, was described as Club Med for terrorists because it was giving safe haven and allegedly financial support to the leaders of Hamas. But despite the conversion and upgrades to the new Air Force One taking 8 years, somehow they've managed to fix this one up and get it ready to fly in just a year. Which is weird, right? More people believe in ghosts than want Donald Trump's ballroom. Donald Trump has talked about his ballroom on a third of the days this year, according to new analysis by the Washington Post. White House insiders are saying it's like his comfort project. It's what he does at the end of a long day, where other people would, pour a glass of whiskey. Trump sits down and thinks about his ballroom. But at a time when petrol prices are going through the roof because of his war of choice in Iran, and the people of America are increasingly fearful about their future, they do not share his enthusiasm. And that lack of enthusiasm has not improved since people found out that they would be picking up the tab for most of it. See, Trump initially promised it would cost about $200 million. Then that went up to $400 million. But still, he was saying that donations would pay for all of it. Now, the project that's in charge of the construction has gone to Congress and asked for $1 billion, which they say is going to be spent on security features for the building. Now, it's not clear if that's going to be the ballroom itself or the cavernous basement that they're building underneath for purposes we don't yet know. But what we do know is that Donald Trump's ballroom is hysterically unpopular. To give you an idea of how unpopular, CNN's Harry Enton, who is Donald Trump's favourite polling guru, noted that the proportion of Americans who believe in ghosts is about 39%, which is 10 percentage points higher than the proportion of Americans who support Donald Trump's ballroom. Oof. Trump got extremely awkward with some children. This week, Donald Trump invited a bunch of kids into the Oval Office to relaunch the presidential fitness test, and his behaviour was inappropriate. He kept being asked about Iran, and he kept giving these long answers that were full of death and destruction.
They had 200,000 women protesting a year ago, and everyone thought that was the end of Iran. And then all of a sudden, a woman dropped dead with a bullet right there. Always right there.
At one point, he described snipers targeting people in their forehead and pointed to his forehead. It was weird stuff to be talking about in front of kids.
Might be too young for this. I don't know if I want. They probably know. They probably know better than most people. But you can't let a bunch of lunatics have a nuclear weapon.
He was even weird when he was talking to the kids about sport.
Next year, I'm going to be trying to do powerlifting.
Oh, whoa.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
And you'll never compete against women in powerlifting.
No, sir.
Did you see that they had a man powerlifter and he decided to go the opposite direction?
But absolutely fair play to this kid for refusing to get dragged into Trump's culture wars nonsense. And finally, Donald Trump's refurb of a beloved historic landmark seems to be going very badly indeed. Regular viewers will remember that Donald Trump took one look at the multi-year, multi-million-dollar plan to renovate the reflecting pool outside the Lincoln Memorial and thought, nah, I'm going to turn it into a swimming pool. He proudly declared that he had scrapped the project and that he was handing over the care of this beloved landmark, the place where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech and the location of, yes, that scene from Forrest Gump. He was handing that over to a bunch of guys who used to fit pools in his hotels. And instead of repairing and replacing the granite surface on the bottom of the pool, they would be painting over it with swimming pool resurfacing material in a lovely shade of American flag blue. Now, Trump announced all this 2 weeks ago. He said it would take 1 week and cost $1.5 million. Now, we don't know how much it's cost yet, but it is taking longer than 1 week. 2 weeks on, they appear to have completed about a quarter of the work. Now, Trump has insisted that this is all going to be finished in time for the July 4th celebrations on the National Mall. But at this rate, it's going to be cutting it fine. And in case you thought all that was sacrilege enough, Donald Trump drove his motorcade down the reflecting pool last night just to take a look. That's it for this week. Remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if there's a story you'd like us to cover. Have a good week and try not to worry about it.